aware that they are coming out. And a lot of rather interesting titles from Metroidvanias, JRPGs, etc, etc, so let's get right into it. And I want to start things off with Sea of Stars finally getting an update. Now, this is an RPG that I think a lot of people will be super into. Now, it's very much a throwback style, so I know with some of these games, Chained Echoes was another one that some people just look at the visual style and they're like, checking out of this one, not for me. But Sea of Stars is a game that looks really good, and from a soundtrack standpoint, that's an element of the game that already did compel me. Developed by Sabotage, the studio behind the award-winning The Messenger, Sea of Stars is a turn-based RPG inspired by the classics, chock full of endearing characters and unstrained exploration, paying homage to the genre's greats while modernizing the overall experience. Combat challenges players to coordinate adaptive strategies while thwarting opponents with preemptive attacks, rewarding carefully timed strikes and interrupted advances. With 6 playable party members, distinct in fighting style and personality, experimentation is key to discovering devastatingly powerful new matchups. There's no need to grind to unlock a character's true potential, either, as character progression is balanced to flow along with the story. Sea of Stars' journey prioritizes meaningful encounters over enduring dozens of the same fights, which it seems like a lot of RPGs are going this route. Instead of making these grindy games, they just want the game to flow really well, which I am all for. Look, growing up, I was all about the more grinding experiences, but I like a game to flow these days, and I think it'll make for a more compact RPG. The game also notes compelling world unites players with Valerie and Zale, inspiring you to training to become Solstice Warriors, the land's final line of defense against the Fleshmancer's monstrous creations. A twisting narrative ensures their mission is anything but simple, making for an engrossing, wondrous tale surrounding a world's looming apocalyptic threat. So again, the game has finally gotten a release window of summer of 2023. Initially, we thought we were going to get this game a little bit earlier, but hey, better late than never. And for a game like this, it's much more imperative that they take their time in creating a top-tier experience. The game also notes dynamic combat, engaging exploration, gripping story, all fun and no tedium, rich universe, and radiant lighting as well. Kind of interesting they do single out the lighting effects. Dynamic lighting effects pairs with a world-influenced day and night cycle to make every area feel truly alive, pushing the traditional visual limits of classical 2D styled pixel art games, the only way to properly tell the story of heroes conjuring the powers of the sun and moon. Again, Sea of Stars scheduled for a release sometime in summer of 23. Next up, we have an update on the side-scrolling action platformer in Ellipse, coming to PS5 and PS4 in 2023. This is a game that I think a lot of people will be interested in. If you're into a Metroidvania title, this is going to be right up your alley. This has such a colorful and vibrant look going on for it. The game notes embark upon a tragic tale and discover the ravaged world of Ellipse. Fight your destiny in an arduous Metroidvania platforming experience in a mesmerizing and mysterious world. The game is being developed by Hot Chili Games, a newer studio, but this is one that I think a lot of people are immediately going to look at and be incredibly interested in. It gives me some vibes of Hollow Knight and a little game called Greek Memories of Azure, which GOG actually was giving away for free a couple days ago. But nonetheless, that's like the vibe I'm getting from this game. Every 10 years, a sacrifice must be made to protect your people from the abyss, a place as worshipped as it is feared. This time you were chosen and thrown into the darkness. Nobody has ever returned, but perhaps you can achieve the impossible. A 2D action platformer with a dark and gloomy style. It's a 2D Metroidvania combining platforming and action that takes place in the depths of an infernal world and environment fraught with traps and dangers. Discover the depths of the abyss with a light and nimble-footed character. Dexterity and perseverance will be needed if you are to explore and escape the abyss unscathed. Ellipse is scheduled for a release sometime in 2023. Take that release window tentatively, just because, you know, things are always in flux, and we saw it with Sea of Stars, which is a game that I thought we were going to get a lot earlier. You know, take that 2023 window, just as it is for now, just a window. Next up, mentioned this game earlier, but another Metroidvania title that I think a lot of people will be interested in, and that is After Image. I'm shocked that this game isn't getting more buzz than it has right now, but maybe this is going to be a case of it building up anticipation and buzz as we get closer to the release, because it's still a ways away. We just got the release date of April 25th, and it's a hand-drawn Metroidvania, which I think everybody's going to look at and immediately think, whoa, this game is visually gorgeous. Obviously, it's not like a technical juggernaut, but whenever you got a hand-drawn style, it's really more about the presentation and how they implement that, and I think with After Image, based on what we've seen thus far, it looks quite good. The game notes reveal the hidden secrets of a fantasy land in After Image, explore the magnificent landscapes and ruins of an ancient metropolis, meeting mysterious colossal beings and adorable roaming spirits along the way. The thrilling adventure of this marvelous 2D hand-drawn world awaits you. The game notes each area features entirely different enemies and gameplay mechanics. Also, there are many unique bosses challenging your skills across the land. Opportunity lies in risk with hundreds of chests and numerous abilities ready to be unlocked to aid your adventure. Develop your own combat style. A diverse selection of weapons and special attacks with various upgrade paths on the talent tree will help you improve yourself in a fast-paced action RPG. Again, After Image scheduled for release on April 25th, so a little bit after the heavy wave of big game releases. Like, April is still... we still don't know everything we're gonna get that month, but January, February, March are just stacked with game releases, so a game dropping in one of those months, like an After Image, that'll be a little bit difficult, but I think April will get out of that wave, and maybe this game will have a little bit more attention on it. Next up, you guys know me, I'm a sucker for my Legend of Heroes, and Legend of Heroes Trails into Reverie has been confirmed for a July 7, 2023 release window. Now, I'm gonna try to stay away from spoilers with this game. Legend of Heroes, the strength of this game is its narrative. The gameplay is good, and it's fine, it's a well-made game, but narratively, world building, I don't know if I've played much better Japanese RPGs or video games in general with the level of world building and depth as Legend of Heroes. Now, bear in mind, Legend of Heroes is a gargantuan undertaking where you're talking multiple, you know, at minimum 50-hour JRPGs, and 50 hours is really putting it lightly for a lot of these titles. There's so much to do, and they have a lot of time to build the world, but ultimately, it depends on where the narrative goes, how they develop the characters, and for the most part, they do a very good job with the Legend of Heroes titles and the characters. I know some people had some issues with Cold Steel 3 and 4, some of the decisions there, but without getting into spoilers, Reverie is gonna be a game that you're gonna play ideally after you've exhausted every game that's out and one that's not even out yet, with the Crossbell arc concluding in early 2023. You got the Sky Trilogy, you have the Crossbell duology, 2 games, and then you have Cold Steel 1 through 4. You gotta play through all those, so, like, you know, this is a franchise that I'm really curious how it's gonna do as we get deeper and deeper into it, because there's a lot of, you know, you should play this game before you play that game, but each of the arcs, like, you can play the Crossbell arc without necessarily playing the Sky games. It's very much preferred you do play those games, and you could play the Cold Steel arc before you play the Crossbell and the other games, but it's very much preferred you play those games, so, you know, it's a balancing act as far as that's concerned. So, you know, some people are going to be gated away from playing a game like this, but the fans of these games, they're playing all of these games in succession, and it's nice to see that this franchise is getting a lot of love stateside as well. JRPGs in general are getting a lot of love here in the States, so that's great to see. Lastly, I do want to give a shout to Atone Heart of the Elder Tree, which is coming to PS4 on January 27th of 2023. Now, this is a game that dropped on Apple Arcade all the way back in 2019 and now is making the way over to PlayStation. It's a Norse mythology-inspired title, hand-drawn game once again that visually has a unique look to it. It blends interactive storytelling and complex puzzles with a rhythm game combat system. Inherit the role of a young warrior named Estra as she journeys through Midgard to unveil the truth behind her father's death. Yes, just had a very big Norse mythology-based release. Atone Heart of the Elder Tree, probably not going to be as big as that, but it has its own unique style, and I think it'll be something people will be interested in checking out in early 2023. Again, January, kind of a heavy period for a lot of releases, but hopefully some people will give this game the time of day amidst everything else major coming out. But that is going to do it for me. Again, a lot of notable games that are going to get lost in the shuffle. I think 2023 is going to be an insane year for game releases, so try to keep your eyes on some of these smaller releases. I know that it's going to be hard to pick them up just because you guys are probably picking up games like your Dead Space remakes, like your Final Fantasy 16, the Resident Evil 4 remake. I can go on, and you know, there's going to be a lot of competition for your dollar next year, but keep these games on your wish list. If you don't pick them up day one, maybe sometime down the line after they come out, pick them up